Brought your coffee to
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Send my greetings to your sister.
Sending Francis greetings, well.
Yeah, she's
She
looking
said
after.
thank you.
She's looking after you so well during
She
this Christmas
does.
season.
Yeah, she does look after me when I'm down here. Because she lives in a really big house here, and our brother lives upstairs, and one of her sons live upstairs, and it's like they're living in a frigging palace, you know. It's
Mm.
like it's so big, it's gorgeous, and they've got and upstairs they got the view down to the ocean, and
Mm.
then on the other side of the house, there's this huge escarpment, which is a bit of a feature down here. And
Mm.
you look out at my brother's and or my nephew's windows, and all you see is this magnificent escarpment.
Mm.
They live in paradise. They live in a lovely area.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
because I saw that video of you traveling down, and it was
yeah,
so beautiful to see the
yeah.
environment. And hi, Lisa, Merry Christmas. We've missed you all. We've missed you all. I hope you are getting everything ready for
I think so.
Christmas. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Wow. So, how are we like? Have you got everything you need for Christmas, Catherine? Have
I
got
do.
yourself ready?
It's Christmas morning here in Australia.
Mm.
It's what time is it, Val?
Okay, so it
20
is.
20 to 8 here in the morning. It's Christmas morning.
Mm.
Our brother and nephew are still asleep upstairs. We'll have Christmas lunch,
Mm.
but it's really beautiful. It's so sunny and the skies are blue, and we've got all our food ready. It's really there's a breeze blowing just off the ocean there. Just this gorgeous. It's really. I'm aware that it's winter there, so
Yes.
we're living in a bit of paradise here. So
Yeah, it
yeah.
is winter here, but for some reason it isn't that bad at all. It's a
Mm,
bit of a breeze, but it's not
yeah.
as cold as usually we have the snow in the morning. We wake up to the white everywhere. But today it is actually seems like we are maybe in some sort of summer, which is just a bit cold summer. So it's,
Okay.
yeah, quite unusual weather to have during Christmas here in the UK.
Oh, really?
Yes, but it means
Ah,
we can go to church without our cars struggling in snow like they usually do Christmas
yeah,
morning. Hi
yeah.
Raven, hi Lisa,
Hi,
hi
everyone.
everyone who has joined us today.
Merry
It's been a
Christmas,
while.
Raven.
Merry Christmas, everybody. We hope you have got everything you need in place for the Christmas day. We have missed all of you, haven't we, Catherine? It's been non-stop.
Oh, it's true. It's true. Because I'm a bit of a Grinch. My sister was surprised I put so much effort into it because I'm a Christmas Grinch. But I was determined to stab the Grinch in the heart this year. And I'm glad I went to so much trouble sending presents to relatives, to friends, to some people here online.
Mm.
If you haven't got them yet, they are on their way. I don't know. It seems like you get deliveries from Amazon the next day, but Australia Post, you'll get them in time for next Christmas.
That is the other thing I was gonna say that if you haven't got my card yet, it will arrive, and so is everybody who is on here that is expecting a postcard from us. It has been a bit slow post wise. In Canada, I know that they were not receiving any mail in the last few weeks because of that strike or demonstration which was going on with the postmen. So be patient; those cards will arrive eventually.
Same,
Um,
same with a couple of gifts I've sent. Be aware, they're on their way. They are. I've checked it out, and they are on their way. So um, I haven't sent many out, just a couple of people who responded. So yeah, it's just a little bit. Oh, Australia Post used to be so reliable, but
mm,
I don't
mm.
know. It's the world we live in, isn't it?
Having said that, though, I received a space Christmas card.
Oh,
Yes, her parcel came through the other day. I wasn't here, but I was able to go and pick it up from a nearby post office.
oh, that's
So,
so cool.
so that's great news that things will arrive from wherever they will be sent to us. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah.
I think it's. I've just decided not to
Mm.
fret about it. These things, once you let something go, the universe has to carry it for you, and you have to trust the process. It
You
may
have
take
to.
longer than we would desire, but the there are other forces at work for us that are working to our benefit.
They
Yeah.
will eventually. Right. So, what is happening in our Royals world? We heard they have all arrived at Sandringham, the Norfolk, for the annual Christmas morning service at St. Magdalene Church in Norfolk. All royals are there, 45. Prince William gave us a hint last time that he's going to be around 45 relatives. So it is going to be a massive gathering for the senior royals. Um, there is a new addition. Beatrice was not going to be there because she was going to be in Italy somewhere with spending it with her husband who is Italian. However, I think she was stopped from traveling because she's heavily pregnant. So she decided she will be joining the rest of the royals at Sandringham, Norfolk, for the annual Christmas gathering. Um, uh, Prince Andrew
Oh,
um,
hot button
pulled,
topic, that one.
yeah,
Mm.
pulled out. So I know for a fact he will be there, I think, but won't be going to church for the usual morning routine. When we see them come down.
Yes, yes.
In fact, the cover for this Royal News Live is the one when they are coming out of church in the morning. So, Andrew will be missing out on that party. They love that. All royals love that morning walk from the church and greeting people, Merry Christmas, and revelers who would have come around. So surely Andrew will miss that. But he said, of course, recently that following what happened with this spy guy from China, his friend, and he won't be able to attend. And I think that's the right move because the king and the rest of the royals don't want to be caught up in all of this controversy. On the day, and the news will be reporting Andrew seen with the royals outside St. Magdalene's Church, and that would sort of overshadow every occasion on the day. So it was a good idea that he doesn't turn up for that. But Beatrice, I think Eugenie will be there. Sarah Ferguson won't be there as well. Okay, because of those controversies still. So yeah, that's as far as I know. That is what is going on with the royal family members. But they have all arrived, we are told, at in Sandringham, Norfolk. Hi, Mark. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Joe. You're not very late, Joe. We have only just started. Hi, Lidu.
Hey, Mark, how are you? Happy New Zealand. Happy Christmas in New Zealand. It's Christmas
Yeah.
morning here, Mark. Yeah,
Yes. Happy Christmas to you all. Happy. I know
yeah.
both you and the New Zealanders are ahead of us, so you should be in
Yes.
Christmas already. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I love that because Australia, the New Year fireworks, we always kick them off.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and then everyone follows like dominoes. And I always love that it's Australia that does that first. I get a
Mm,
kick out of it. And
mm,
I think we do ourselves well, So yeah. What time is it in New Zealand, Mark? What time is it there? It's
mm.
um it's 7:45 here,
Yeah,
yeah,
quarter
in
to eight. Yeah,
Australia.
because
Yeah,
you and New Zealand are usually maybe an hour, 2 hours ahead of each
yeah.
other.
I
So
don't
that
think there's much difference.
yeah, but you would
Yeah,
all by now be on Christmas Day where you are.
yeah, yeah. Kind of
Yeah,
cool,
I've just
actually.
come. I've
Yeah.
just attended the Christmas service at the Christmas Eve Christmas service at 5 o'clock here. Because the morning one is quite, especially if you have to open Christmas gifts in the morning and all of that. So
Did they have
um,
carols,
yeah, they
Francis?
had, yes, they
Oh,
had.
I love
Yeah,
carols.
it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the scenery and the little manger and Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus.
Oh, I
It
love
brings a bit of,
carols.
yeah.
Yeah. They
Max
lift the
Brat.
heart. They just the heart just lifts
Yeah.
up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's here today.
Everybody is joining us, Max
Yeah.
Brat. Yeah. Merry
Hap-
Christmas
Yeah.
to you. Max Brat, let me know if you received the Christmas postcard I sent a few days, I think would be 8 days ago by now. Max Brat, I think you're one of those. That card came out too. Let me know if you got yours. If not, be patient, it will arrive. Whoever sent me their address, I managed. And so did you, Catherine.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've
So,
got I did hear from someone who got it really quickly, like that week. But
mm,
I've heard from a couple of people, they've asked me to track it because there's a tracking number with what I've sent. And I was a bit surprised that it's taking so long, but I know one has arrived. But just going to have to trust the process. I get a little anxious about some things when they're not going well, but I do know that things are on their way. So, and I was really surprised. My sister reminded me, I said to her, "Did you get my Christmas cards?" And she goes, "Oh, no, not yet."
mm,
This is where I'm staying in Sydney, right?
mm,
And she said, "But don't forget, we only get mail every second day now."
mm,
I said, "No way." And it's been like that for a while. So,
mm, mm,
um, services, I hate to sound like an old Grinch, but they're not quite as efficient as they once were. The Australia
mm,
Post, they were known to be really, really efficient.
mm,
If they
mm.
had a royal warrant, they would. Look at poor old Cadbury's. They've lost their royal warrant. And
Yeah, yeah.
so Australia Post should have a royal warrant, and that maybe they'd work harder.
They would, yeah. But yeah, Max Brat says mail delivery just isn't what it used to be. It will get here soon. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully it does. There is a lot going on around this time of the year, and some of that has to do with security checks
Yes.
and threats, and so parcels are put through 3 times more scrutiny and security checks than ever before. And with the incidences that went on in Germany in the Christmas
Yes.
market and everywhere, so they are tightening. Small things like that are causing that effect everywhere with how people are receiving mail. So it will eventually arrive. Mm,
Yes,
mm,
that's a very good point, Francis.
mm.
Yeah.
So, Lido said Royal Mail have a royal warrant and they are getting just awful. Tell me about it. That's exactly what Catherine just said, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, because my sister, she follows the royals, but not like I do. But she's interested enough. She just was shocked earlier. She's reading news online. She goes, "Cadbury's have lost their royal warrant," and I said, "Yeah, well, they deserve it. Their quality has really gone downhill." And
Yeah.
but also in the news article, it said that the consumption of Cadbury's chocolate in the royal households in recent decades hasn't been what it used to be. Because it was
Hmm.
Queen Victoria, I didn't know, but it was Queen Victoria that issued that royal warrant. But the Queen mum, she loved
Hmm.
Cadbury's chocolates, didn't she?
She did. She did. Now, some good news here from Aspi, who's just joining us. Hello, everyone. Francis just got your card today. Thanks so much. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. At least that's ushered in some ray of hope that the rest of the cards will arrive. So Aspi has got my card.
SB has, I've got an email saying that the delivery is in like the holding area in Brooklyn and I got that a few days ago and it still hasn't arrived. Uh,
Mhm.
oh,
Yeah.
this is Christmas morning here. Now I'm getting depressed.
Yeah.
Well,
It will arrive. Aspi, please check in with Catherine and see if yours has arrived as well from Catherine's.
because it said it's arrived in Brooklyn and it's in the
Mm,
what they call the processing plant or area.
mm.
It doesn't look like, because she would have mentioned it. It doesn't look like
Should
it's
have,
arrived.
yeah. So she might probably have to go, and I don't know if she wasn't home and it was redirected somewhere for her to pick it up. But she will
Well,
eventually receive it. Yeah, she
well,
will.
I'll get a confirmation that it's been delivered
And picked up, yes.
to that person. But I
Mm,
did get it said I got an email and I did sent it on to Aspie that it's arrived and it's in the processing area and you'll be
mm,
notified when it's fully delivered. That
mm,
Brooklyn, yeah, she's in Brooklyn, Aspie. Oh,
mm.
anyway, look, we'll just have to relax. Relax, Catherine.
Yeah, relax. It will soon arrive. So, King Charles, will he be delivering that Christmas speech or not? We know he's changed scenery for the speech. He's going to deliver it from somewhere else, as opposed to where they usually do the speeches. They tend to deliver these speeches in some places, just a way of marking or remembering or celebrating some sort of achievement. We are told this time around the king will be delivering that speech from, let's see, 1 minute, we'll check where it's gonna be. So he's broken royal traditions with new location for annual Christmas Day speech. Have you seen that,
I
Catherine?
did. I actually think that's a wise move. Thank you, Aspie. I've just read your comment. I appreciate that. Um, I actually was really thought that that was smart of the king to do that because he can't very well follow in his mother's footsteps. He has to put his own stamp on things. But also, isn't it in a chapel in
In
a medical facility where they're treating cancer patients?
yeah.
Um, is that correct? So I just felt that for me, particularly remembering I went to, oh, darlings, I hate to remind you all, but I went to the Royal Tour, but I'm still living a little bit on that buzz, to be frank. And he really wants to be his own man and put his own mark on things. And to see him do that from that kind of facility rather than in a palace, I felt was really unique.
Mm,
There's nothing wrong with it coming from a palace, but the setting was beautiful. The
mm,
photos that were captured from that setting with the beautiful tree behind him, it's just gorgeous. To me, I just feel, and I'm really looking forward to what he has to say because I
mm,
love listening to his voice. He's
mm.
got the most incredible voice,
Iconic
and
voice, yes.
yeah, but I very, very sharp move on his part, in my
Mm.
opinion.
Yeah, because people are used to seeing these speeches delivered on a royal estate.
Mm, mm.
But saying that though, Queen Elizabeth, some time back, I think she delivered
Yeah,
two of those off the royal estate. I think one was in
yeah,
the Royal Albert Hall somewhere, and the other one was at the Southwark Cathedral somewhere in Southwark, which is not far away from Buckingham Palace. So it's only down the road. But they
yeah.
always have a reason for doing that. And
Yes.
like you said, King Charles this time round, having gone through quite a challenging year with his health and everything, this is very symbolic. This place has always been dedicated to people who have gone through hardships, cancer,
Yes.
and all of that. So it would be something they thought about very
Mm,
carefully, and maybe
mm.
decided it was the right thing to do.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
so, but
I'm
it's,
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah.
I really I've always watched the Queen's speeches, but I'm looking forward to this one.
Mm,
For that reason, I mean, look at Catherine's efforts since she's announced that she's in remission, I think, maybe,
mm,
um, but she's not out of the woods yet. But all her efforts have really, she brought that young Liz Hatton in, and she invited the families from people who were devastated by the Southport stabbings.
mm,
And all her endeavours are towards people who've suffered and suffered from cancer or suffered from the loss of family members. So I'm not saying that the royals haven't always done this, but there just seems to be a unique turn taking place with the senior royals this year because of their own lived experience. And I
mm,
mean, Charles looks really well. I mean,
yeah.
I felt I'll be honest, I felt that the photos in the chapel were a little bit overworked, a little bit, you know, his face was too polished. It looked like it. But when you see him out on walkabouts and you see him out and about, he looks remarkably well. And he's living on his work, obviously. He loves working. And I just feel that is a huge encouragement to others who really want to make it through cancer, and they see the king out and about and they go, oh God, if he can do this, I can too.
I know that Aspia say is asking whether Charles is okay, following that conversation between Donald Trump and William, where William says he's fighting very hard. Um, he's good. He's doing well, actually. Is because recently, for Catherine's um, Christmas carol service, there was a sporting of King Charles, and he wasn't that bad at all. He looked good. So it's the chemotherapy, of course, he is still going through, which is obviously not an easy sort of treatment. It pulls them apart if you're not very strong. But he's still been working. He's been visible. If he had gone away completely and we were not seeing him, that would raise concerns. But he's been visible. He's well, and for a man in his age, of course, this is how I would expect them to be behaving, to be looking, going through this sort of treatment.
Yes, yes. Bye, Lisa. She's probably
Mm.
already left. Merry
Yeah.
Christmas, darling. Um,
Merry Christmas, Lisa. Yes, yes. She's.
yeah, I think
Mm,
you're right about Charles. He's well, I think Charles is well as can be expected, and they've already announced his treatment will continue into 2025. When you consider, and that trip to Australia is grueling. It is a
mm,
long haul flight.
mm,
It's a long
mm,
haul flight. And in Australia, we often miss out on some of the big names on their tours because they just don't want to come to Australia. It's so far. And when you consider they did that, and it was very wise to stop off at the health retreat. I think was it in India on their way on their return to Britain,
mm,
and they recovered some of their energy. The one I believe who's really ill is Camilla. She did not look well when
mm,
she was here, and
mm,
she um, I mean, when you see her out and about, she looked well, but I felt at the state dinner she was sitting there and she looked, because remembering she wasn't fully recovered from pneumonia
Hmm.
and she just looked a little spaced out. And when, because, the Queen, she shook my hand, she was as close as this. Remember, guys? So, um, and my pal that I was with next to me, Linton, he said the same. He said, "Oh, she doesn't look well at all." So, but that's because she's caring for Charles.
Hmm.
She's got a lot on her plate. She's the watchdog, she
Hmm.
is the gatekeeper. I remember when my husband was ill, I was his gatekeeper. And, we had a blended family and it wasn't always understood sometimes when, because he would say to me, I really, really need you. I really
Hmm.
do need you. Because remember when Harry came over and it was Camilla that put the limit on the visit. She put
Hmm.
the time limit on that visit,
Hmm.
and you're often misunderstood. And people, other loved ones or stepchildren, they often misinterpret that. Oh,
Hmm.
she's controlling him. So she's had a lot to deal with, and we saw her in Samoa crying behind her fan.
Hmm.
So she's had a lot on her plate, Camilla,
She
and
has.
but we mustn't underestimate that, and she needs us to lift her up in prayer and support her in prayer. And she's also kept her projects going with the domestic violence documentary and osteoporosis. She's still working.
She's
So,
working. She was
yeah,
extremely exhausted during that time.
yes,
Catherine
yes.
and the king were having their diaries very carefully
Mm,
managed. She stepped out most of the time where other royals were, going
yes,
through those health issues, and plus having to look after her husband. Then add that Australian trip onto that fatigue, and that would have finished her completely. And
yes,
she also had a few issues with COVID. We know that because
yes.
she caught COVID some time back, and COVID obviously has a way of leaving that immune system a bit weakened. So if you're gonna
Mm,
get other little infections or minor flus, they are
yes.
going to take a toll on us. And of course, for a woman in her age, again, it
Mm.
comes down to right. What more energy has she got to pull through? So we continue to pray for her.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I think so because he relies on her. He relies on her
realize.
so much.
Mm,
Oh, it's when I saw them because the opera house was the last day,
mm,
and there's a photo of them on just above the steps, and there's people behind them. It was actually quite wonderful, and there was blue skies behind them, and she's looking up at him as if she's got this look on her face of victory and triumph. We did it, darling. It was like that.
mm,
And they were smiling ear to ear. But the way she was looking at Charles, I thought, oh my God, these two, this is a love story that
mm.
I think has been really underestimated at times.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. Now we've heard that her two sons will be up in Sandringham for the Christmas, so they were invited. They are very, very highly regarded by King Charles. So these would be a pillar, of course, for Camilla through these challenging times. So we hope they are doing a great job behind the scenes. So let's look at Lee here says Camilla looks very, very shaky and unwell for a good few
Yeah.
months now. Yes, yes, I would agree with you 100%. Anything were to happen to Camilla Charles would be devastated.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
100%. There is no one here that is well in tune with her husband like Camilla is. She is every strong pillar that King Charles is holding on to right now.
Mm.
And you see them out and about, and how she's looking after him and asking people to bring those cups of teas. Make a cup of tea for my darling, he's cold. So she is, and she knows how to to calm him down when he's out in public, when that pen doesn't work, and
Pen scandal.
the pen scandal. Who springs into action to calm the king down? It is Camilla. So it is very important that she's healthy, for the sake of King Charles continuing to have that positive energy from her. But she will be at Norfolk, so that's the good news. She's going to be there, and at least knowing that she will attend and have Christmas with the rest of them is news to us that she is on the right mend.
Yes, yes, yeah. Well, they've got a break now, so that's I'm pleased that they're having a little bit of respite. No one
Yes.
wants to see anyone ill. And no, you can't wish ill on people, even if you don't like them.
Yeah.
Some of the online comments you read towards Camilla or towards
They are very
Catherine, they're so
disgusting. Oh,
vile.
very vile, very
And,
vile. They
oh,
forget.
no, she didn't have cancer. She went away and had a facelift. Come on. It's just,
Mm,
and I just feel like I don't know. I mean, there's always another agenda behind a lot of that stuff, but even royal fans, some of them really haven't moved on from Diana, and but it was such an iconic moment with Charles and Diana. That was what it was. It was not just another wife that he had. It was
mhm,
really iconic. But I wonder how well he would be doing, and I wonder what the story would be if Diana was still alive. I'm not sure it would be quite as supportive as what we're seeing with Camilla. And I think that's just the truth, because
mm,
Diana she had her own emotional issues, and didn't always cope well, with
mhm,
these bigger issues of life. She didn't. So
mhm,
it would have been a different story. But I think the media love Camilla. Matthew from The Sun was talking the other day, and he said, "Oh, we love Camilla." He said, "You just know when she's out, when she's there, she always gives you something,
mm,
because I never understood the relationship with the media until that moment. I mean, I've heard it said in a variety of ways, but he said she's always cheeky and she'll give you something sort of like undercover. She knows she's letting something out, and
mm.
the media. That's why the media love her, and she has a really naughty sense of humor. So yeah. So I understand that, but that comes with maturity as well.
It comes with maturity. She's a warrior. She's fought through this. I don't think there is anybody that has managed to swim through negative publicity than Camilla has over the
It's
years.
incredible.
And I think the one person who saved Camilla was the arrival of Meghan Markle, because when Meghan Markle arrived and she started behaving the way she did, that's when the media took the spotlight of scrutinizing Camilla to Meghan now. And so that provided a bit of a blanket for Camilla and allowed her to do her job gracefully with no,
Oh, well, I mean, they deserve the scrutiny, those two Sussexes. The further down they go, the worse it gets, because they're
so
scrambling. It's just so bad.
so that brings us to them, actually, because they are not going to be here for this Christmas gathering, and this is going to be the fifth or the sixth that they have missed. And well, let's face it, since they walked away from royal duties here, they are always not going to be part of these royal gatherings. But this one here is an interesting one, because everybody had thought maybe this time around they could be invited to spend the Christmas with the king, especially as bad health had engulfed the royal family, and also the issue that the king hasn't seen his grandchildren for a long time. So this sort of Christmas gathering would have been the perfect time. So Catherine is having some issues, I think, with her signal, but she will come back to us. Yeah, so everybody thought this would have been the perfect time for Meghan and Harry to be part of the gathering, but no, it hasn't
The
been the
live,
case.
yeah.
Are you back? Do you get
Sorry if
issues
I
with your
dropped
signal?
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
my granddaughter, it interrupted the live, and she said, "Oh, okay, I'll ring you back." Sorry, gang. Yeah, I think, but no one expected them to turn up, really, did they?
No one
Because
expected.
didn't they say they were invited to the Spencer estate and family gathering?
Okay, so they did that, but I think that was a bit of an to take the pressures off themselves for not being invited to to Sandringham. So they then said they had been invited to the Spencers. It's more like, well, they didn't invite us, but at least they've invited us here. I think that's what it is. But I don't think it would have been probable for them to be present when they are still pushing their agenda. And also, William and Catherine, for as long as they are still not in talking terms with Meghan and Harry, I don't see a I don't see a Sussex's team being invited to be within the same building as William and Kate.
No,
This
that relationship's finished.
that relationship is
Yeah.
finished. And yeah, William,
There's
if
no
they
way
can't,
back.
there's no way back.
I
If they
don't think
can't
there is
even,
any way back. No.
no. And for Christmas gathering at Sandringham, then there's no way they could get those invitations because William is one of those that actually masterminds who is gonna come, who is not coming to this event. Allegedly, because he works very much with his father in planning these events. I wouldn't see him send out that invitation to Meghan and Harry. No chance. And to be honest, it's the trust thing as well, because a lot is done, a lot is said within these private gatherings, and whether they can risk these conversations with Meghan and Harry being present, is the other thing.
Well, they would all be on tenterhooks. The whole family, everyone would be on tenterhooks. They wouldn't be free to speak. I mean, come on, what a Christmas gathering's about. Everyone's got loose lips. We're all teasing each other. We're all having a big laugh. And you
You're
wouldn't be able
having
to
a
have
big laugh.
anything like that with them around. They're such
Exactly.
party poopers. They're stick in the muds. They're awful people.
Exactly. And they can't even take jokes for jokes. They would turn
No.
jokes into something different. Look at how they turned a minor joke about, oh, I wonder how the hair of the baby is gonna be like, and turned that and blow it up and turned it to some sort of race war.
I know. There
Okay.
was speculation, wasn't there? Will it be a ginger afro? Like,
Like,
come on. My granddaughter's Japanese, right? She was born with blue eyes,
yes.
which is very normal. Babies are born, and we're all going, no, hold on to your blue eyes. She had them for 6 months, and
Mm.
oh, we were so disappointed. And she's a classic mix of Asian, which is really beautiful. But when she goes to visit her cousins in Japan, she's like my son, who is so tall. So we've got photos of her with her cousins, and we all laugh about it. Comes up all the time, and we pull this photo out. Katie with her Japanese cousin, same age, they're up to her waist because she is so tall. She's like a giant in Japan. We laugh about these things. No one takes, this doesn't mean it's racist because you're laughing. Will the baby be a ginger afro, or, well, what kind of eyes will it have? Oh my God, stop it. Stop it. It's like, stop the madness.
Yeah.
Most people are understand that.
Yes, they do. My brother, David, is lives in China, so he's married to a Chinese, beautiful Chinese lady.
Ooh,
So the other day we were talking on the phone again. Hello, so she's expecting, and so she even started. My brother's lady was the one saying it, and now she's Chinese, but she was telling us, "I wonder how this baby is gonna look like."
oh, it's going to be a
And I
beautiful
asked,
baby.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I asked, what do you mean? And she said, because, well, Chinese, naturally, we've got small eyes. And
Yes.
David here has got very big eyes. So what is this baby going to be? Medium, small, large? What is it going to be? She was very, very excited and
Yes.
anticipating
Yes.
what sort of baby this is going to be. Nothing to do with race, color,
No.
none of that. It's just that anticipation, and it's all the part of fun.
Well,
But
it
look
is
at how
fun.
they took
And
that. Yeah.
The Asian blend babies are the most beautiful. They are. They're absolutely stunning. Stunning. So that whatever size the eyes are, that baby is going to be like a real beauty. But
Mm.
no one's feeling racist about it. Everyone's just excited. And she took that away in that Oprah interview. She like I was thinking about this before we came on live because I knew this subject would come up.
Mm.
But it's like everything she touches turns to crap. And
Mm.
if even everything she wants to be a success, she either destroys it intentionally or it turns to crap. And she took a beautiful family dynamic of looking forward to this baby. What's this baby going to look like? And everyone would have been excited for Harry, and she
Yes.
took it and she turned it into this nasty, bigoted, filthy, racist trope. She turned it into that, a trope, and it wasn't. And I think most people in the audience understood that, except that stupid Oprah, who, by the way, I never liked. I always thought she was a fraud. So,
Mm.
and that hasn't done her. That interview is not online anymore. It's been taken off the internet.
It was taken off, and because of the impact it had on her reputation and her channel, because many people started looking at that interview as a way of Oprah trying to milk whatever she could get from these two people who were naive at the time, and for the sake of making headlines and coming up with these huge allegations that were said in this interview. So it wasn't gonna last, that interview. I don't think it would. And behind the scenes, I'm thinking it could also have had something to do with maybe Harry and Meghan
Yeah,
reaching out to Oprah and say, please take that off because of the backlash.
I think there
One,
has been
I,
some behind the scenes negotiation over that because
mm,
that charge against them could not be allowed to stand. And then that stupid Arnold Scobie, that accidental release saying it was Charles and Catherine. Of course, it was Charles and Catherine. Who's Harry angry with? His father. Who is Meghan obsessed with and jealous? Catherine. So they said, oh,
Catherine, yeah.
the royal races were these two, and I think that's been taken out of circulation as well.
Yes, yes, it should have. And
Yes.
and Omid is, I don't think he's even still their spokesperson, because
No.
since that book, he's sort of, it's like he buried himself deep,
Yeah.
deep under the ground. And I knew this was gonna happen. It's more like he hadn't learned from what had happened to Oprah Winfrey. Oprah, after airing that interview, her reviews went totally down. Her projects got
Mm,
a
mm,
massive stumbling block going forward.
mm,
And this is exactly what I see with anybody
mm.
who associates themselves with these two, Meghan and Harry. 'Cause that's where they end up. Uh, People have so much de-associated themselves with anything that Meghan and Harry do. And of course, Joe here Joe confirms that, she
Yes.
agrees with you. 100%. That, those two, Meghan and Harry, no chance for any invitation coming back here in any way, shape, and form, engaging in any
They're
form of royal activity with the rest of the royals. No chance.
done. No, I actually really believe, um, because William and Catherine are coming to the throne earlier than they anticipated. We know that. When is just a matter of time.
Mm,
Um, I'm not making any projections here at all. I'm just saying we all know the reality of the situation. You can still live for quite a while with cancer, and the king is doing it. Like, he's exemplary. He's an exemplary example of what you can do. But what I'm saying is, I've kept the article. It's on my computer at home, and where Harry really believed that after everything he'd said and done, he really believed that all he needed to do would be to apologise, and he would be able to come back into the loving arms of his pa and his brother. And he's shocked. He's
mm,
shocked that that's not happening. Now, if the king didn't have William there, it might be a little bit of a, because he's soft and the king hates confrontation. But you've got Camilla.
mm,
Camilla, she doesn't want drama. She doesn't want her husband suffering all this drama. But I think William will never have his brother back in his life again. And that's why you're seeing these nonsense articles coming out from Meghan, source. It's a source. We all know who the source is. A source saying, oh, I'm so, Meghan is really disappointed in Catherine because she's not helping Harry. She
mm,
doesn't owe Harry anything.
She doesn't. She doesn't. And I would like to go back to Camilla, because you said how Camilla is very solid and how she would never have allowed. That is very, very right, very right. And I would like to follow that up with a few
Yes, please.
articles
Yeah.
that happened there that sort of talked about this whole thing, and saying how Camilla has actually been the one guarding King Charles away from his son. And she knows how his son would be terribly a bad idea for him to come anywhere near to his father, because every time he does, it causes him a lot of stress. And so all these phone calls that Harry makes, has been trying to make to try and reach out to his father, would have been blocked by Camilla, allegedly, because she knows that every time he reaches out to speak to his father, he leaves his father sort of scratching his head, and because whatever he says. And I think he could also be probably reaching out, not because he wants to come back and make ends and all of that with the royal family. I think he could also be reaching out to ask for money as well,
Yes. Yeah.
because
That's exactly it.
yes, because it is very, very expensive, the life they are leading, and those projects are not coming in as they thought they would be. We see this Netflix thing, 100 million pound they are getting to produce these episodes and all of that. That money is just we it is just written there, but actually the money that they receive is much, much smaller than that, because you have to take off the rights, you've got
Yes.
people,
Yeah.
the directors, and the taxes, and the commissions, and the production fees, and all of that. So it leaves them with near to nothing. Everybody who works in production in the media will tell you, even all these big musicians, and the songs they sing that go viral, they sell millions and millions of copies. Why do we hear those musicians dying in poverty? Because that
Yeah.
money is not money that ends up in their pockets. It goes to paying debts, paying things that didn't
It
go
goes to
well.
all the people around them.
All the
They're the
people
people who make the money.
who
It's
make
the
the money.
lawyers, it's the producers, it's the songwriters. It's the marketing. They don't get that
They
money.
exactly. So with these phone calls we hear coming in consistently and wanting to talk to the king, Harry wanting to come in and speak to his father, I think those sort of that frustration and demand to meet his father, I think is having something or was having something to do with money. Give me some money. I need money to do this,
Mm.
and as a father, you're still responsible for helping me out. You know, and so Camilla would have said no to all of that. You chose to go, so must you go and vent for yourself, vent for your own family out there. But a lot of it as well is to do with the disrespect that Harry, his wife Meghan, have brought to the royal family. So Camilla would not allow somebody like that who was so disrespectful to his father, to his stepmom, to just come back as he pleases in the way that Harry wanted to. And I think the only way Meghan can get the million she craves is to divorce Harry
Yeah,
and
I just
fleece
saw
him
that.
and the royal family.
Mm.
Yeah. And Joe, we are sorry we had skipped that. Do you think Meghan helped
Yeah.
Harry write his
Oh,
book?
yeah,
Of course,
absolutely.
of
Mm.
course. That everything that Harry has been doing over time, everybody has always clearly seen that there's a mastermind behind that.
Mm. Mm.
Whether it's these Netflix projects, Meghan and Harry, the Polo thing, Meghan being the executive director, of course, we saw that. Everything because she knows she is great at everything. She's an actor, she's a producer, she's a film director, she's everything. Everything. Um, she filmed her cooking show that might not make it to Netflix because of how the Polo show is performing. The Polo show isn't even making the top 10, later on 15, 20 shows that are being watched on Netflix, hotly watched by Netflix. And apparently this is not sitting very well with Netflix. And so if Harry fails to make it, how about Meghan's cooking show? Because Netflix thought Prince Harry's is a hot seller. He sells whatever he does will sell, but he hasn't sold here in Polo. So they apparently this cooking show might not be aired. It was filmed before Polo, but it hasn't got a name, a concrete name. And this is why it's gonna
So,
be filmed.
so typical. It's
It's
typical.
very telling.
Yeah, it's
Very,
typical
very
of Meghan.
telling.
Nothing
Mm.
she puts together feels congruent. Everything always, there's loose ends or
So,
the
so
trademark
she starts
challenges or so stupid.
exactly. So she starts the Instagram account thing, and so
Mm.
this was initially started to market her Riviera
Mm.
Orchard American, so Riviera brand. And she amassed followers of up to around 500, 600,000 people. Nothing
Mm.
has ever been put on that page. So, she started that up before she had even established a trademark for her strawberry jam. And that is still under, that is still, it's still fighting wars to try and secure a trademark. It hasn't gone through that.
Yeah,
So
they
before she,
really are finished, aren't they? They really are.
so all areas, there is
Yeah.
nothing that you can see that has been made with proper planning. Everything is half baked, and before they finish that up, they are already jumping onto another project. Before this is done, they are jumping onto this. Where they hear there is money here, that's where they go. So their strategy is not working. and yet they are not recognizing that until they make ends with the royal family, it is when their projects will actually start moving forward meaningfully. But other than that, I don't see them go beyond where they are right now. Mm.
I think that what I'm hearing from, like, in the tone from people in America, um, like Tim Dillon is someone I listen to, and but different commentators speaking into the culture of the moment. What I'm hearing is a note of resentment, and I feel it comes down to that people are so, like, people in this area that produce work. They create content, they produce work, whether it's cartoons or comics or books or podcasts, and they are so sick of the entitlement of these two. They just feel they're so flippin' lazy. They're so lazy. They just believe that being royal would just give them the kiss of heaven. I like her jam. Her jam, she was clearly competing with the King's jams when she released her 5 jar of jams.
Mm.
And she thought, oh, I'm the Duchess, I'm the Duchess. I'm as good as a royal warrant. Everyone's going to want my jams. I'm competing with the king. And nothing came of it. It was
Mm.
so dumb. But I believe people are seeing the waste and the sums of money that have gone into helping them produce content has all failed, all floundered. It's all been an absolute total waste of money. And
Mm.
I sense a hint of real resentment and contempt. That's the other word I'm looking for, contempt towards these two, because people who succeed, they worked their butts off to do that.
Mm.
They
Mm.
get people who do long form contents. There's a couple of channels I follow, and they produce long form contents, and they really produce good material.
Mm.
That's hard work.
Mm.
It's you run a channel. You know what goes into it. You've got a pretty big
Oh,
channel.
yes,
It's a lot
yes.
of work, and I just feel people are so sick of these two. And Harry really does believe his father owes him.
That is,
He really believes, if I ask for it, my father must give it to. He really believes that. He
he really
really
believes here
believes it.
he doesn't want to do the work. He doesn't, he had that opportunity to help his father enjoy his reign by being here, work alongside his brother William, drive these patronages forward in ways that we have seen senior royals do day in day out, like
Yeah,
Princess Anne, Edward, Prince William, Sophie. They are driving these agendas, gracefully, and they are continuing the traditions of the royal family forward, supporting each other. And they thought, okay, the arrival of Meghan Markle to would support Harry in taking on roles and become more accomplished senior royals, and he throws all of that away. It's more like something came onto his head and turned him against his own family. And I know we keep saying Meghan did that to Harry, but I also think part of that was Harry's own making, because as a grown-up
yeah,
man,
yeah,
he very much knew what he had been prepared for. He knew that he was going to support Her Majesty the Queen, in driving the monarchy forward with the engagements. He had already taken on so many patronages, he was the chief of so many regiments here. He threw all of that away and went
I can't
and
believe that.
went, and he's just wasting a lot of time in United States doing nothing, nothing.
No, he does nothing.
That's what
He
I see
does
him doing.
nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. His life is a total vacuous, empty,
Okay.
going down for a surf. He does nothing. He's a
There's
total
nothing
waste.
there. Yeah, total waste. And all I see is just him doing things that he enjoyed doing back here in the royal, like going to Colombia, Nigeria, but that's all pretense. There's nothing in there, because what are even those visits for? What's the point in those? Actual foundation? But what have they done there? What is actual actually doing? I don't even see what actual foundation does. Okay, what have they achieved? We saw on their Christmas card, so they had a couple of pictures in Colombia, in Nigeria, Meghan hugging a little girl, and Meghan Harry opening arms and welcoming their children as if they had gone away for a long time, and the kids were. But I was looking at the significance of all those photos, and I couldn't see any significance apart from Meghan and Harry sat somewhere in Colombia. That's so they. It's more like they were going on these trips to sort of collect images they could put together and say this is what we've done in a year, but nothing. Because at least we could have seen projects they've done. Could have seen a school they've facilitated on those cards. Could have seen a group of women somewhere there carrying something, maybe sewing machines or clothes or crochets, and say this is a project we have facilitated in this year. We haven't seen none of that.
Well,
So
they
we are.
promised a basketball court to one of the countries, didn't they? That hasn't eventuated. They promised they were going to help build a basketball court. I don't know whether it was Nigeria or Colombia, but come on, you can't do that. You can't. You can't. You can't put that out there and not follow it through. You can't do that. They're like a shell company. These two are the personification of a shell company. There's nothing behind it. It's just a big, big fraud.
Oh God, it's a shame. So Aspi was asking, was Catherine's Carol service aired on television? Yes, Christmas Eve, which is today, and that would have been on ITV, not BBC. If you missed that, Aspi, sorry, you might have missed, but it was on ITV, not BBC. Um, but it is one that will be again showed, because was a recorded show, so it will be. I don't think where you are television channels will have the license to show it, because I think United States you have so many channels there, so whether those TVs have licenses to air some of these shows from UK, I don't know. But you will check that up on YouTube. If you go to the Royal Family channel, I think they might have elements of it on
That's a
it.
good
Yeah.
point.
But yes, so that's where we are right now, Catherine. Meghan, Harry, in terms of what they have achieved this year, I see none. I see none of it at all, apart from programs that we are seeing, which are theirs to make money. This is Netflix, it's their own businesses. We are talking about achieving something for all, work for communities, work to support women and children as they so claim to be doing always. I don't see any of that. Okay, I see two self-serving individuals who are just out there to make money, because whatever they are claiming to be doing right now, they failed to do when they had the biggest platform, and to do it when they were still in the royal family. Okay, they had the best organization and strategists in place to help them achieve those goals, and they decided to walk away because they thought they could do it outside and monetize it and get money. Okay. So got Pamela, Merry Christmas. Pamela Cox. Merry Christmas, everybody, once again. Just says, Francis, did they escape on their freedom flight and now they all want to be royal? Exactly. I like
Yeah,
that. That
yeah.
freedom flight was never going to be a freedom flight.
It
It's
was so
so
stupid. But
ah,
yet,
it,
it's like they were carrying on like they were escaping a pogrom. Oh, so stupid. He's on there on his camera. Freedom. Oh, grow up.
freedom
I
flight.
mean, you
You
and I
know,
are parents. We know what children can be like. This is the behavior of a child.
exactly. Freedom flight. It was more as though they are saying they were being enslaved, they were being overworked, they were being. Because that's how I'm interpreting that. Freedom flight. What?
So
Why did? What? In what context was he saying freedom flight? Okay, so I'm looking at it in that way. A couple that thought they were being overworked. But what had they done? What huh?
it's a comedy. It's a freaking comedy. I remember at school at the end of the year, we would run out of the
Merry
school
Christmas,
and we'd
Lily.
be yelling out of the
Yeah.
school, we'd be yelling, no more school, no more books, no more teachers, dirty looks. That's what he was like on that so-called freedom flight. It was like a
Mm.
child running out of school at the end of the year. So freaking stupid.
Merry
Oh,
Christmas, Sheila, Kelly, thank you. And Lily,
oh,
thank
Lily.
you
Hi,
all.
Lily. Merry Christmas, Francis. To you and
Yeah,
Francis. Yeah,
and
yeah. So
Sheila, yeah.
gorgeous. Hi, Lily.
Yes, she is. She's so gorgeous. And Sheila Kelly here. Merry Christmas. We've got Phoebe all the way from Turkey. Merry Christmas, Phoebe. Thank you for joining us always and for the support. Um, it
It's
is.
Christmas morning here in Australia. It's
It
I'll
is.
look at uh, uh, it's actually nearly 8:45 here in Australia, Christmas morning. So
Mm,
we're ahead of all of you. You know, we're
you're
so
ahead.
advanced. Australia, we're so advanced. We're either really ahead of you or we're really behind.
Yes. And you very, very lucky. You always get there before us, even
Yeah, yeah.
the new year. Yes. But I'm so grateful to have all our friends here to sort of catch up with us, especially during this busy season of Christmas. You would be sorting out dinners, turkeys, and getting those Christmas gifts wrapped up, but you decide to sit with us here. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate.
Joe, Joe Vickers makes a really good point in the Oprah Winfrey show. Um, Harry said William and Charles are trapped, and look who's really trapped. It's not William and Charles, it's Harry that's trapped. He's really caught in a spider's web. I don't know if he's ever going to be able to escape it. If I don't think he's got the wherewithal to get away from her. I think they're going to live separate lives, and it'll be like a rapprochement between two countries that are at war with each other. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
1 minute. Yes. Yeah. So sorry, Catherine. I'm going to get myself a bottle of water. Mm. Wow. So I was looking at the program for the royal family coming up after the Christmas season, and it's very interesting because they thought maybe William and Catherine could maybe have a royal visit earlier on in the new year, but they are still obviously looking at how Catherine will be with, because she's finished her chemotherapy, but she has to still get her energies back.
Is that
Okay.
a royal visit to one of the Commonwealth countries?
So yes, I heard there is a
Okay.
plan for that, but we haven't. It hasn't been confirmed yet. But
Okay.
there is an anticipation that there could be a visit, which is uh, very much due. And that would be so lovely. That would be so lovely to see them, obviously go. They haven't been out since they last visited. Is it Bailey's? Was it Bailey's their last tour?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it was a very, very challenging visit. So they think we could see another royal visit of some sort. But let us see. There's a plan that is going to come out with all the upcoming royal visits. And I know there is one for King Charles as well and Camilla. They were due to travel to Germany, so somewhere. But we're going to see all of these visits, announced through the royal website. But I'm very, very excited to see what William and Kate are going to get and where they will be going next.
Yes,
And
I am
that,
too. They are the two to watch, aren't they?
yeah, they are, and it's going to be interesting because we know that Catherine was also meant to go to United States for the
That's
Earth
right.
shot the other time, yeah. So that all came to a bit of a standstill. But there is another trip apparently coming up for United States for Catherine. It is again still unconfirmed, but it has something to do with the trademark they got there because the Royal Foundation for the Prince and Princess of Wales was registered in the US, where they are going to be working with a number of charities abroad in the US to, sort of push the agenda of women and children, early childhood development. And there is a lot of research done in these universities. So Harvard University and Catherine would be meeting professors from that side of the world to try and see what more they can do in the field of early child development.
Yes, yes.
So Americans should be anticipating seeing Catherine and William at some point
Oh,
in the
Americans
US.
love them. The
Oh,
Americans
they
love Catherine and William.
do.
Yes.
They do because every time William and Catherine travel to US, they sweep Americans off their feet. And
Yeah, they
Meghan and
do.
Harry don't like to see that.
I love what Joe says. He says,
Okay.
I look forward to that. If Catherine and William do travel, I wonder what mischief Harry and Meghan will get up to at the same time because they won't be able to help themselves.
Exactly, Joe, you're right. Every time William and Catherine travel to the US, or the Meghan and Harry's, there are mischiefs and they panic. They tend to panic. What are we going to do? They come
Yeah,
up with
yeah.
abrupt
It's,
trips to New York, and
yeah. I
Meghan
think
comes
you've
up.
really described it well. They panic.
Oh,
They do. Because it all looks so ill considered, it's really ill
thank
conceived
you,
and
Joe.
just rushed out.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe, for that.
Oh, thank you.
Catherine's,
Yeah, thank you, Joe. She
yeah,
loves my
thank you.
blouses.
Yeah, she
It's
does.
linen. I
It's the
love linen and
Christmas,
cotton.
isn't
Yeah, yeah.
it? And
It's
did
got
you see
long
that?
sleeves.
Merry
Yeah.
Christmas, Aspi from Kelly. I hope you saw that, Aspi. If you've just joined us, thank you so much. We always catch up with these royal chit chats and what has been happening in our world. If you are expecting a card from us, please bear with us. It will arrive at some point. We
Yeah.
put the
Yeah.
cards in the post, but there is a bit of a slow process with the busier times of Christmas. Aspi, you got yours from me. I hope you liked it. The rest of you, we are going to be sending yours very soon. I know that you haven't sent your addresses yet, but if you do, we will put something up in the post for the new year for all of you. Yes. So let's see Harry and
We
Meghan
need
have
a
not been
laugh.
seen
I love
together
a
in
joke.
public. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't. They are probably planning their next move. And part of Meghan and Harry's, obviously, their engagements are highly driven by engagements here. If the royal family here is doing nothing, Meghan and Harry won't do anything as well, because they like to see what is going on, what is going on. And so they also come up with their own version of a similar trip in the US, because what they are doing now is to put themselves up as the version of the UK royals in the United States. Okay.
Mm.
But
Well,
also
that
what
was the whole plan, wasn't it? Was to establish a royal court in America, but it just hasn't. They haven't pulled it off. I think if there could have been a possibility if they'd handled it differently, but they just are like Calamity Jane.
Mhm.
Mm.
They can never do it the way
No, they
the
just sort of
royals.
go from one
Yeah.
failure to the next. They just are starting to look like a comedy team now.
God. There is a news paper magazine in California that made fun of Meghan and Harry's Christmas in California. They said, "Oh, they are spending Christmas here. We wonder what they will be doing on the day." But it was making fun. They literally made fun of them in the US, because the way the magazine was putting it out, that we have the Meghan and Harry who have chosen to not spend Christmas with their family, and they want to spend it with the village people here in California, where everybody has chosen to spend it with their family. And I saw that very important, a very good way of making fun.
Well, I'll tell you, I listened to a podcast
Mm,
um, yesterday, and it was a serious podcast. It was not a royal podcast. It was about politics. It was about the culture war, and it was the interviewer was an American, and the interviewee was in Britain. He's a British commentator. Anyway, and they were talking about the UK government and the fall in um, the polls for Keir Starmer, and he used this expression, and he's about another member of the Labor government, and this is what he said. He said, "Well, they're not." It's becoming a cultural term. He said, "Well, they are falling." That's for one of the female politicians, but they're not quite in Meghan Markle territory yet, but they're heading that way. That's what he said. This is a
mm,
serious political podcast. And
mm.
he was not talking about the royals at all. I actually had to go back and listen to it again. I thought, oh my God, they have become such a laughing stock. That's what he was talking about. One of the Labor front benchers, they said, "Oh, no, no, it's not quite in Meghan Markle territory yet, but it's heading that way."
Can you imagine all these comic cartoons that have come up, making fun of their worldwide privacy tour? So, they wanted to go private, yet they go on these worldwide tours and say, "Hey, Meghan and Harry will be visiting you." And the other thing is, I've always failed to make any sense out of their visits, their tours, and I don't see what they're even going to do there, what capacities they are visiting in. Okay, and they're visiting a country where the head of state is distancing themselves from them, but you see maybe a minister down the line there trying to meet them. It's more like they reach out to that minister and say, "Can we come and see you, and we take photos in your office," and just to show the world that this visit has something to do with visiting the government itself. And it's there is a lot of scrambling and behind the scenes that I think is going on ahead of these visits. And actually, I think there is a lot of begging as well
And
involved.
people find it difficult to say no to Harry because it's the king's son. And Harry
Mm,
knows this. Harry knows he still has a lot of cachet. Look, we both know what it's like. We're parents. Many of us here are parents, right? Even your naughty son out there, you don't like it if someone treats them badly, or if someone tries to discipline your child in the supermarket, and you get really angry with that person, but then you get outside and you say, don't behave like that again. I don't want anyone to speak to you like that. And we do not like anyone treating our children, even our naughty children, badly.
mm,
That's our job. So
mm.
people, Harry knows this. Harry, and so does Meghan, that people struggle to say no to Harry. But apparently in Colombia, the what was the name of the woman that invited them? Was she the prime minister
Okay,
or something?
she's
Yeah.
the yeah, the prime
But she
minister.
apparently said, get this woman out of my sight. I can't stand her.
Mm, mm, mm. And
She couldn't wait for her to leave. She couldn't wait. And she invited her and she went online and in the interviews and said, oh, I saw her in Netflix and I invited her. I she had to come. She had to come. And in the end, she's saying, get this woman out of here. I can't stand the sight of her. That's because she was making Google eyes at her husband. And we all saw it. You never make Google eyes at another woman's husband on camera. Don't do it. Your life's not worth living, baby.
Yeah, and here is everybody who was dressed very sensibly and very occasionally, and it's Meghan again with all her body out, on an engagement where she should have looked, very professional. So a lot of it has to do with poor planning, bad publicity. I can't even explain how these two have always approached engagements, and you can see two amateurs each leading each other, but they don't know what they are doing. And of course, I expected Harry um,
To know better.
to know better, having worked
Mm.
and having lived and grown up in a society and in the royal family where things are right to the T in terms of
Yes.
organization. Okay, because in there, I know how things operate. I worked for royals, and the preparation we put into every occasion is so immense, and the planning and the outfits. I promised to do an outfits sort of show
Yes.
here to show you how that goes. I think I'm gonna do that after Christmas.
That'd be nice, actually, because I've been
Yes.
reading about your uniform. I thought, oh, I'll prepare myself for that. That'd be really good. The thing is, with the royal events, you can see the precision. It's like military detail. Every
Mm,
every royal event uh, goes so smoothly, and even if something goes a little bit sideways, you can see they're so well trained that they're able to pick it up and keep moving without
mm.
any hiccups. But Harry and Meghan are quite the opposite. They're so shabby. So he is shabby. He is shabby. The
Oh
only time he
yes.
looked anyway half decent was in that New York book interview.
Mm,
He was in a suit, but he was still slouching back in the chair and he had his legs wide open and, he
mm.
just sort of didn't look like he holds himself like people in interviews. They usually, like if it's a full body interview, they usually have their posture in a specific way
Oh
and their hands in a
yes.
specific way. He was
Exactly.
slouched back and he had his legs wide open, like he was just in a pub. I thought that was, but it's the only time I think he's looked half decent. Most of the time, his hair, he needs a haircut. He needs to shave the back of his neck. His shoes are dirty. He looks shabby. He looks like a drug user.
Yeah, yeah. He obviously he was very well looked after when he was in the army. He would have a team of people around him to look after his outfits, his grooming, everything. In the army, all those officers would have an office, as a soldier who looks after their kit and make sure that they step out looking apart. So he leaves, he goes away, he has to do all of these things on his own. And he was raised up in the royal family where everything was given to him on a silver plate. Definitely he was going to struggle, out there.
Yeah,
And
he
when you
can't
look
look
at,
after
yeah,
himself,
you
and
can't.
she
And
doesn't
Meghan
look after
Markle,
him.
absolutely. And Meghan Markle can't look after herself as well. Look how she turns up with either her outfits are creased in some way, or they're missing this, or they are off somehow. And every time she steps out, you see the criticisms she has with the outfits and the choices. So these two were always going to struggle outside of
Yes,
the royal
yes.
family. And I think why they couldn't manage serving under the royal family is because they never wanted somebody to tell them no, or this is how things are done, or because they don't like to take advice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
It's
so
sad. It's actually sad to see what's happened to him. No one wants to see someone decline like that. It's like watching a beloved relative who's got dementia declining. No one likes to see someone that a lot of people loved Harry, and
mm,
that's why you see some media personalities can't let him go because they really loved him, and they still talk about the possibility that he can come back because they still love him. They want him back. They're
mm,
desperate for him back. Some of that's
mm.
driven by internal political preferences, but most of those royal commentators that yearn for Harry, they're distraught that he's turned into what he is. He's a mess. He's an absolute shabby, ghastly, hideous, stoned, drug addicted, drunk, missing 36 phone calls when his grandfather died, missing 36 phone calls from the palace, and they had to send the sheriff or the local police out to
Well,
the home.
Sheila is there telling you, she's agreeing with you there.
Yeah,
He's crying out
awful.
for help. You always say that, isn't it, Catherine? I always say
Yeah.
that he's crying out for help. you know and Joe obviously says, I think his problem is drug use. They both look like they need a good scrub in the shower, haircuts,
Oh, she looks
iron
like she
clothes.
smells.
This is what you always, this is your observation, Catherine. So you can see that it's not just us who are highlighting these things. Many people out there are looking at this and thinking, woo, what sort of image are these two promoting of the royal family? Because they are still very much part of the royal family. They're still listed here on the website as people who are supporting His Majesty the King in some way. So they need to know that they are going to be scrutinized wherever they go, and that it is up to them now to make sure that they carry themselves in a way that is going to be respectful of the monarchy and the king. Obviously, clearly, they are not doing it, which is a shame, really. But 2025 is going to be an interesting year where these two will go. It's going to be very interesting. Okay.
Aspie has to go. Bye bye, Aspie.
Bye bye, SP.
Happy Christmas, darling.
Happy
Yeah,
Christmas, SP. Thank you
yeah.
so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
We will
Yeah,
be finishing in a little while as well, so we can
yeah.
catch up with the festivities. I need to get the beef out of the freezer, and make sure it's all
Oh,
good. Yeah,
oh, listen to
Christmas
you.
turkey. Yeah.
Oh, you. Do you do the
Okay.
cooking, Francis?
I do indeed, yes.
Oh,
I
oh,
get it out of the freezer.
your wife must really appreciate that.
Thank you. Oh, have a lovely time, summer.
Sam had a
Yes.
nap and it
Eh,
lasted hours.
oh. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
hi, son. You miss
Harry's
guy
dog
a
serious
lot.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I agree with you, Sheila. They're his biggest problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sheila.
and
Hi,
till he
Sheila.
overcomes that,
Great
he'll never be able to
observations.
clean up.
Yeah. Okay, so Aspi says you keep listening. You can't write any more comments. Thanks so much,
Yeah.
Joe.
Bye,
Yeah.
darling.
Bye, darling. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think Ophelia story 25. Yes, Joe. Joe, well said there. Heather, hi. You should have listened to his grandpa and brother. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it is what it is for the Meghan and Harry's now, because I think they are finished. There is
Yeah.
nothing there for them to go. And when you look at the projects they are now doing, it's very telling of how far they've gone with literally milking everything left to try and stay relevant. And so Polo and Polo,
That
Polo,
polo.
Polo.
But the thing is, I
Oh,
don't think they've done the industry any good. A lot of people in the industry, polo players, polo professionals, managers of teams, they're not happy with Harry, especially in Britain. And apparently, the friend who said he's an idiot, he'd be an idiot if he returned to the UK because of the flop of this polo, right?
mm,
But apparently, they were such good friends with that family. This gentleman that was in the media who made that comment, they used to leave their horses there.
yeah, yeah.
They often stayed there. The
Mm,
boys stayed there, and Charles, they were very close to them. But when Harry left, he just cut everyone off.
mm,
So
mm.
of course they're upset. The polo industry has enough trouble staying in the people's good books because animals do get
And
hurt.
cruelty as well. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but there are
And
people who are really good to their animals, and that
yeah,
was the problem with the polo. I felt that that polo series would have done really well if they'd focused on the care of the animals,
the
taking
care of
where
an animals.
yeah,
Yes,
taking the animal into the trailer and looking after them during the journey. You know, that kind of, you
that
go on
kind
a
of thing
journey and then
on a
you
journey
take
with
the
an
animal
animal. And
out
yeah,
and you're watching the manager or the groomsman take the animal to the stable. But animals, horses in particular, I used to have a horse many years ago. They're such wonderful animals, and people don't like to see them being
yeah,
mistreated.
put
But that
through.
part, that was such a self-indulgent, ghastly, awful. These people were awful. They were just so selfish, ghastly, horrible
Yeah,
people, and there was
just
no
focusing this
focus.
polo on themselves rather than
Yeah,
the animals themselves,
there was no focus on that.
Especially as Harry
Yeah.
also has some history of that
Yes.
not having good relationship with horses by reading around. Okay, so it hasn't done them any good, if at all. It has just exposed them as individuals who can never be successful in any projects they take on. So it is going to
Well,
be
I
interesting.
I
Hmm.
think that guy, when he said he would be an idiot to come back, I think because the British, they're very good at they're very good at couching something quite diplomatically. I think what he's saying, you're an idiot. Don't come back here. We don't want you. I think that's what he really was saying.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
That's pretty damning. I just don't know. Who was it? Was it Joe who said Harry's problem is the drugs? That's why he's so
Yes.
delusional and he's got no grip on reality.
But the future, their future is hanging in the balance, especially
Yes.
with Donald now in power. Because when he takes over, his government, and we know he's very, very friendly with the monarchy here, and he has always expressed, concern for how Meghan and Harry have treated the royal family. And recently we saw William, of course, meeting Donald, and they were having this good conversation. And so it sending out a message there that he's very much in support of the royal family. And,
Mm.
So it is going to be interesting to see where Meghan and Harry end up, uh, you know, come 2025. And with their visa thing still under scrutiny, whether they will be leaving the US, but to go where, whether this alleged home in Portugal is going to become their new home. We don't know. What we know is that their closest allies, like the Ellen DeGeneres, what is her name?
Yeah,
Ellen
Ellen did, and
DeGeneres.
her partner Portia, or her wife Portia. Yeah.
Okay, so they are leaving United States and they are coming down to the UK or wherever they're gonna live because obviously Donald came into power and all of that. So is this going to be the beginning of Meghan and Harry also thinking whether they can now stay in US or they can go elsewhere? It's going to be interesting. There's a lot that we are going to be seeing coming up with Meghan and Harry. But it
Jojo
is all
says,
going to be a big struggle.
Megan, Jojo says, Megan will end up opening a bar
With Amber
with
Heard
Amber Heard and Blake Lively somewhere on the
somewhere on an
island.
island. Eric.
That's funny. That's so funny. Yeah,
Hi, Joe.
everything hangs in the balance, doesn't it?
Ballad. Yeah, I had that. Jojo, where is Jojo based? Jojo, are you in the US? Yeah. It is interesting, isn't it, to see how people are actually not falling for this Meghan Harry tricks and how they are. Okay, Jojo is in Sydney. Yay! So
You're in
Jojo is.
Sydney, Jojo. Oh, so Merry Christmas. I'm in Sydney. I'm down the south coast at the moment with my sister. And where are you in Sydney? You don't have to give me your address, but where are you in Sydney? I'm on the north side of Sydney. I live on the north side, but I'm down the south side for Christmas and a few days. So I'm just
Yeah, so,
interested. That's
yeah,
so cute.
yeah.
She's in Sydney. That is so awesome. Awesome.
She's in
Awesome.
Sydney, so
Yay.
you might catch up for a cup of tea after Christmas. If you're not too
Yeah.
far
Yeah.
apart. Yeah. Sam is here, isn't he?
She's on the upper North Shore. I'm on the northern beaches. We're not far from each
Oh,
other. Yeah.
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 Upper North Shore, yes. And
Yeah.
Sheila, how about Sheila? Sheila, where are you? Are you in US, UK, Australia? We seem to have so many now based in Australia, our friends here. Um, Stedman is not here today.
No, she'd be
So
pretty busy 'cause she runs the
yeah,
ranch. She
hopefully
would be really busy. Yeah.
Sheila is in Texas. Sheila, sent greetings to our friend again there in Texas.
Yeah. I know,
Stedman.
Jojo.
Yeah, yeah. Giorgio is not far away from you. Yeah.
No,
So
no, no.
Sheila is in
She lives
Texas.
in a
Sheila
very
Kelly.
nice, she lives in a very nice part of Sydney.
Okay, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, arrange a cup of tea, coffee sometime when you
Yeah,
guys have the
yeah.
time. Let us connect. It is so important, to connect, especially in
Yes.
these days where
Stedman's
things have
lovely.
become.
Mm.
So Sheila is in Texas. Check on Stedman because Stedman earlier on said it's very hot in Texas. I hope you
Oh,
guys
would
are.
be. Yeah.
Yes, I hope you are keeping hydrated, my dear friends. Right, so we're gonna call it a night.
Okay. Yeah, that's really lovely. We had a terrific crowd tonight. It's just nice
Yes.
to
Yeah.
freestyle. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, to check in
Yeah.
on our friends here. And we will catch up with you all after
Yeah.
Christmas. Yes,
Absolutely.
it's been quite busy recently. So, we didn't have a Royal News Live last weekend because it's been non-stop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was very much under the weather. I'm just recovering, which is good in time for Christmas.
Nice.
Uh, but my dear friend Catherine was also traveling and also
Yeah.
making
Been
arrangements to
hectic.
travel. Hectic. So when do you
Yeah.
expect to go back up, Catherine? Are you still there for a few
Uh,
days?
yes, I'll be here until the 27th.
Yes.
And then I'm coming back. I'll be home for a couple of days because I got my fish. I have to look after my
Mm,
fish,
mm,
and then I'll come back because I do like it down here. I really, and my sister and I are quite close. She has to put up with me, the poor darling. So I'm
yeah.
the eldest, and I never let her forget it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, Max Brat, before you go,
Yeah.
let us know when you receive your post, your postcard in the
Merry
mail.
Christmas,
Merry
Jojo.
Christmas,
Yeah.
Jojo. Everybody else, thank you so much, our dear friends. You
Thank you,
are
Sam.
so, so, so lovely. All of you spend this Christmas with family in whichever way you choose to. Remember to take care of yourselves. These moments don't come usually. So, family members around us, make sure you enjoy as much as you can. Um, so, Catherine, any message for our dear friends before we go?
Oh, just Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope that I just want to echo mainly what Francis just said. Look after yourself over this time. It's quite a lonely time for a lot of people, and yeah, as you get older, it's not like it was when you were a kid. It's just
Mm,
some of that charm seems to evaporate, but it's a good time to be around family and just make the most of every
mm,
relationship. I think it's
mm.
really lovely, and I thank you for inviting me on this morning, Francis. It's really lovely to have touched base with you. It has
You're
feels like it's been a
welcome.
month.
It's been a month without us,
It feels like
it
it,
feels
yeah.
like it, yeah. And Maridi, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Marie.
Thank you, Mary. Merry Christmas. And Jojo, don't worry, you're not alone. We are here. We are here
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah.
Yes,
I hope we
anytime.
can catch up in the new
Yes, we
year,
can catch up in
Jojo,
the
and have
new
a
year.
coffee.
Yeah. But we
Yeah.
will have one before the new year, probably a few
Yes.
2 days after Christmas. We will pop
Yes.
around and
Yeah.
we sort of check in on all of you to see how you've had your Christmases. But whatever you're doing, we love you so so much,
Yeah.
every single one of you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
darlings.
Bye
Yeah.
bye. Merry
Thank you. We'll
Christmas. Merry
see you
Christmas
see you after
again.
Christmas.
See you
Yeah.
again.
Bye.
Bye indeed. Bye.